All right, so we're at the place we're gonna do our hike, and we've got our map that we printed out. And before we do anything else, before we take off, we're gonna figure out where we are and orient our map and figure out how to do that with a compass. So the first thing I want you to do, and I realize you won't be able to see this really well on the screen, so just pay attention to your own map, is that I know I drove down this road and I turned on this road, and that the parking lot is somewhere here where I've got this red dot. All right, so this is where I am, and now what I need to do is kind of figure out, there's some hills on here, there's some wetlands. Can I orient this map in the right way so I can kind of have a sense of where I am before I even get started on my hike? So I've got my compass. You're going to be using your cell phone, or if you have a compass, that's great. So let's orient this. So we're gonna have this compass. We're gonna get it to point to the north. I can already tell that the red end here is going to be that. I can tell my map is already kind of off. So I'm going to kind of just roughly get this in place. So I've got the map that's going to be facing roughly north. And then your map's going to have the edge of the map. It's going to have some lines that go north-south. Those are going to be helpful in trying to line this up. I'm going to go right over my point, though, so I can get an idea kind of where I am. And then I'm going to line up the compass so that it lines up with the lines on the map. And now I need to move this until the arrow is in the right place. So I don't want it pointing directly north, because that's true north, and where this compass is pointing is magnetic north. So we looked up the declination before, and it's about 3 degrees west of north. So I'm going to turn this a little bit so that compass, that's not much of a declination, so it's hard to see that on this map here. Oops, I got that off the line a little bit. Okay, so turn it about 3 degrees. And so now I have my compass pointing to magnetic north and my map lined up to true north. Okay, so you're going to want to take a picture when you get to that. And that's going to be one of the things you're going to turn in, is that you were able to get your map oriented correctly. All right, so I'm going to move the compass away. And now what I want you to do is to look at the contour lines and other things on your map and see if you can find things. So I've got a hill that's to my west.
Wait, start over.
So I've got a hill that's to my west, and I can kind of see a little bit of it behind the barn there. And then my map says a little bit to the south is going to be a wetland. And I kind of tell, I can't see the wetland, but I can kind of tell it's going to be there over that rise. And then to my south, it's kind of a broad hill and then a higher hill a little further away. And I think I can see this broad hill that we're going to walk up on, and I can also see the larger hill that's a little further away. And if you printed your map out in color, you'd be able to see the forest cover on here that's not showing up on my black and white. All right, so that's going to be the first couple steps that we're going to do before we go for a hike. So then you're going to keep your map out, and as you're walking, kind of track with your finger where you're going on your map to see if you can keep track of where you are. Let me show you one more thing. So the squares on your map, these are square kilometers. So a mile is going to be a little bit, a mile is about 1.6 kilometers, so a mile is about that far. You're going to hike a mile in about 20 to 30 minutes. So like how far you move your finger is going to be in 20 or 30 minutes, you're going to go about that far on your map. This will look a little bit different on yours when you print it out. But that square, so it's cut off there, is kilometer by kilometer. Helps you get a sense of scale. All right, let's take a hike.
Hey, Ellie. All right. Do you need me to show the map, or?
You don't need to show the map. We're going to talk about what's going on. All right, so we've hiked about 10 minutes. We haven't gone very far. And hopefully on the map that you have, there's the trail that's marked, so you can just kind of follow along on the trail. This one didn't have the trail at all, so I've actually marked the trail in as I've gone. And now I'm reorienting myself. So I'm looking at the terrain again. And before you use the compass, see if you can just reorient the map without having to look at the compass and orient north. I haven't gone that far from the parking lot, so I can pretty much clearly identify where north is. Without having to get the compass out. I can see my hill a little bit better. So I've got a hill that I can see on the topo map that's pretty steep, and it looks pretty clear over there and it's forested. I've got the wetland area that I'm looking almost due west here, and I can see that on the map really well. And then to the south, I can see this other forested hill. So I have a pretty good idea where I am relative to the wetland and to these other different maps. And so I have a pretty good idea that I'm here at this point right there. Now, at some point, it doesn't have to be this one. You're going to get out your compass again. I'm going to take 2 more bearings, and you're going to take a picture of coming up with these bearings. And we're going to do 2. One is back towards the parking lot. So if you had to get back to the parking lot and just make a beeline, if you had to go straight there and follow the compass, I'm going to point the compass over to the parking lot. And then again, I'm going to line it up with magnetic north. Okay, so you're going to take 2 additional bearings. One is going to be back towards the parking lot. So we're imagining that if you were lost and you didn't have any trails around it at all, and you had to go straight back to the parking lot, that you had some rough idea where it was, and we had to follow that bearing. And so I'm going to take my compass, and you're going to have your compass on your phone or a real compass. I'm going to point it towards the parking lot, and then I'm going to read my bearing. Okay, so my bearing here, that's about 20 degrees. And usually within about 5 degrees is good enough. So again, the compass is pointing towards the parking lot, and then I'm rotating this wheel to actually line it up with magnetic north with that 3 degrees to the west declination. So this time I'm a little bit, so between 15 and 20 degrees. So you're going to write that down. You're going to take a picture of it that you were able to do that. And so that's one bearing that we're going to take, that we potentially would follow the compass and go straight through all this vegetation to get back to the parking lot. The other one that we're going to do, again, thinking about being lost, is we're going to pick something that we can see on, not necessarily the horizon, but pretty far away. And this is if you're like in deep woods, it's really easy to end up walking in circles. And people have done it all the time. So we're going to pick something that every now and then we're going to be able to see, and we're going to see if we can consistently go towards that. If you're not actually going to do that, I don't want you getting lost in the woods trying this, but this is what you would do if you were lost, but you were going to try to get to that spot. You would pick out this. So if we look to the west, I can see a cell phone tower. So there's several places that I could potentially see that cell phone tower and keep walking toward it. So let's take a bearing to that. So again, I'm going to point the compass towards it. And this is what this mirror's for, if I wanted to be really precise.
By point the compass toward it, what exactly are you talking about is pointing toward it?
Well, the compass has got these arrows coming up the front. So I'm going to point those arrows towards the thing that I want the bearing to.
Okay.
And then I'm going to use the mirror if I wanted to be really precise here and line that up. And now to read the bearing, I've got to turn the wheel on the compass to go back to magnetic north. And so I'm going to keep turning this. Again, 3 degrees to the west, to the declination. And then the number that I get off the edge of the compass, that's going to be my actual bearing. So that's about 259 degrees to that cell phone tower. So again, if I was really lost and I knew that if I got to that cell phone tower that there was a road or something else that would save me, that I could keep on that bearing using the compass and avoid going in circles. Okay.
We're rolling.
All right, so I'll show you how to use the actual plastic compass, and a lot of you are not going to have a kind of a real compass. So I've given you an app that you can use to get your bearings. And so just like you were doing with the other compasses, you're gonna, the front of your phone is gonna be where you're gonna point it to take a bearing to something. So just like earlier, I'm gonna point this at that cell phone tower, and your app is gonna read true north. So it already takes the declination into account. And so I'm pointing that, and then I'm getting a little bit different than I got on the other compass.
Nothing is showing up on here.
That's fine.
Okay.
So I'm getting about west 269 degrees. So again, you're going to take a picture of that and write it down to your your rescue object, the thing that you would follow in order to get yourself from being lost.